Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings as we do have numerous snow and ice warnings issued over the next couple of days, as we are going to continue to see lots of wintry hazards, and in northern areas we are going to continue to see heavy snow in places. It is going to be a lot more convection based, which means it is more unpredictable, but it could deliver quite substantial snow into some regions. You can already see from the live radar some of these big beefy showers pushing into northern and northeastern regions, and they'll continue to do so over the next few days. Temperatures are going to drop widely below freezing overnight tonight, and for the next few days it'll hardly get above 3 or 4 degrees in the mildest of regions. And we'll look at that all in detail on the latest UKV and arpege runs. As we enter the longer range, though, it is looking likely towards the weekend it will be turning milder. We see a big storm system moving in from the west. It does look very lively, and there is even a small chance it gets named. A really intense system moves in. Could have some frontal snow on its leading edge, but most likely it is going to turn us mild, wet and windy through into Sunday. And it's going to set the precedent for the following week where, yes, it is going to be going milder. Not exceptionally mild, yes, maybe back towards double digits in some spots before there is the risk, as I said over the past 2 videos, it does go colder once again into the final period of November, or maybe into early December, as there are again tentative signs of that blocking getting going to our north once again. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see we've got lots of beefy snow showers starting to push in for those northern coastal regions. But for most inland, it is a dry and very cold evening. The coldest night we've had all autumn, with temperatures widely below freezing, whether in rural areas or in inner cities, widely at 0 down to maybe even -5 to -10 in a few spots. We will continue to see snow showers piling in from the north. Of course, they look very beefy, but they will struggle to make inroads further inland. We have numerous warnings for northern areas, for western regions as well, and down to east coast, as we are going to see some of these sort of systems develop, these little disturbances that could give heavier snow in places. You see some of this perhaps skirting down the east coast at the moment. And of course, ground temperatures and 2-meter temperatures are going to be well below freezing tonight, and most likely will stick around the low single digits even during the daytime. It does mean that snow will settle quite readily, and there could be disruption even only from a few heavy pulses could drop a few centimetres. If you look at those temperatures at the moment, you can see it is widely down towards freezing, if not below freezing. I'm recording this just before 9 p.m, so it's going to drop much further. So around 6 a.m, sort of the bottom out of those temperatures, down to -2, -3 quite widely. So yeah, really, really cold. You can see that cold air starting to plunge southwards at the moment. If we do look at the past 24-hour snowfall, though, you can see where we've seen significant snow last night across much of the Midlands, northern England and into Wales. Of course, this is falling snow from the radar here. We didn't actually see this much settle in all these regions, but it was substantial in places, especially over higher ground, but even to low-lying areas. I've seen pictures of a good few centimetres of snow. Of course, it was very wet in nature because we were transitioning from mild air to colder air, which meant the ground temperatures were above freezing, at least initially. Air temperatures in places were still above freezing before the cold air did descend. So it did mean it was a very slushy, wet snow kind of event. And for most, apart from some of those elevated areas and where we saw significant snow, it has mostly melted now just because of those factors. So it could have been a lot worse if we were in the middle of a snow event, middle of a cold period, or at the end of a colder period. But fortunately, from a sort of disruptive point of view, this happened right at the start, where we still have lots of mild surfaces and warm surfaces, which meant that we didn't see too much significant accumulations. But still pretty much as expected, and still did see lots of disruption, road closures in the morning, and there is the risk of more of that over the coming hours. You can see, though, lots of areas were affected. So if anyone says, only affected a small area, you can see well over 50% of the British Isles here has seen snow in the past 24 hours, and will continue to see snow in the coming hours. And you can see even towards London. I even saw a bit of snow during the morning. Nothing too substantial, but a brief covering for a time as we saw some really heavy pulses moving through. It even got down to southern areas as well. Now, if you look at the weather warnings, we've got a real mishmash of warnings at the moment over the next 48 hours. If you go from north to south, you've got this warning that expires at 10 a.m. in the morning for more snow and ice. Again, mainly for showers, 2 to 5 centimetres quite widely. So those big beefy showers falling onto frozen surfaces. There is nothing that's going to stop accumulations, potentially significant accumulations, 10 centimetres in some places and maybe up to 20 centimetres over the higher ground. We've got another warning for western parts of Scotland, again until 10 a.m. for snow and ice, and I think this is generally just an extension of that warning issued at a later point as those showers are a bit more extensive. You can see again a couple of centimetres, maybe up to 5 centimetres, and even the mention of some lightning, potentially some thunder snow in places. A snow and ice warning for the whole of Northern Ireland. Again, this expires at 10 a.m. for more wintry showers, as we saw from the live radar, 1 to 2 centimetres in places, up to 5 centimetres over the higher ground, medium likelihood, low impact on the matrix. And then further warnings issued for England, one across the northeast. Again, medium likelihood and low impact for more snow showers, and it expires at midday tomorrow. Again, we're looking at a few centimetres in quite a few places, up to 10 centimetres over higher ground. You can see, though, really not coming too far inland, and that is because those showers really are going to skirt and stick to those coastal regions. Could push inland, but they should die away pretty quickly. So if you are to the west and south of this warning zone, there is the possibility of a few snow showers in the coming hours, but don't expect anything too major. This other warning issued for parts of Wales here, and it again expires at 10 a.m. for potentially more snow showers coming in off the Irish Sea. Of course, that is the big thing with this. It's all where the wind direction is coming off a source of moisture. Because it is dry, cold air, it needs to come in from those sources of moisture to produce the heavy convective showers. So that's why on the live radar it looks like loads of snow is piling in from the north, but they will die out very quickly as soon as they get quite far inland, maybe 10-20 miles inland. They will start to die out quite quickly. So that is why you can see this all really is scattered around the coast. We do have a larger ice warning though that is issued for much of England here, and you can see it is not for any real snow. There is the risk of a few bits and bobs around, but it's mostly because we saw lots of heavy rain and heavy snow earlier today, and where some of that snow is still sticking around, or where we've still got puddles, still got very wet surfaces, it will freeze readily overnight, and it could cause significant disruption with that ice potentially in the morning. And then finally into Wednesday, all the same warnings still issued. I'm expecting, again, another issuance of warnings through Wednesday morning. They normally get updated around the late morning, so we'll probably see another batch updated through tomorrow. At fairly short lead times, because we have got fairly low confidence, because a lot of this is convective based. Now, if you look at the latest UKV now, you can see all those heavy snow showers piling in from the north at the moment, and they'll continue to do over the coming hours. You can see drifting inland in some places, but mostly staying towards those coastal regions. Into Wednesday, it's a fairly sunny day, but very cold day. Still plenty of snow showers in the north, but elsewhere they do die out. We've got to watch this system here through Wednesday, potentially some heavy snow pushing in for the Republic of Ireland, maybe into Wales and southwest England. Some of the runs were interested in pushing this inland. It does look like most now keep it towards the channel as a skirting low pressure system, not really producing anything too significant, but potentially southwest England could see something a bit more significant from this. Again, a very low chance it pushes further inland, but still there, and we'll still need to keep an eye on it. This could be a source of significant snow. Just at the moment, the majority of the precipitation stays well to our south. As we head through Thursday into Friday, we do see a brief change in wind direction, more northwesterly, behind this low pressure system, which does mean those showers could come a bit further inland through parts of the Midlands and Wales, and then eventually into the weekend we see a big area of low pressure arrive, heavy snow on the leading edge, but eventually turning all terrain as we do see very mild air pushing in, and it goes pretty stormy and unsettled. You can see the wind gusts there into the weekend up to 60-70 miles per hour. So yeah, really quite horrible indeed. You can also see the substantial shift in air mass, well below freezing at the upper air temperature level, down towards -5 to -10, and then eventually getting swept away by +5 to +10 by Saturday evening. So almost a 20-degree temperature change there in those upper air temperatures as we go from, -8 to -10 down to sort of up to +8 to +10. So a very, very big transition there with that milder sector moving in. If you look at the max temperatures, you see overnight tonight well below freezing for all areas, and even by 8 a.m. it's still well below freezing. So that's why we're going to see potentially issues with ice. As we head into Wednesday afternoon, for many northern areas, especially over higher ground, ice day, i.e. temperatures below freezing, even for the best areas in southern England, 3 or 4 degrees at best, feeling colder of course. Through Wednesday night into Thursday, again, widely sort of -2 to -5, maybe -6 to maybe -10 in some isolated spots. And again, for Thursday, temperatures hardly getting above freezing in many regions, maybe only 3 or 4 degrees again at best. It's a similar picture as we head into Friday, again, another frigid night, temperatures well below freezing, and by the afternoon, maybe 4 or 5 degrees. But then look at Saturday, again, very cold into the morning, potentially there could be the risk of some ice and some heavy snow on the leading edge of this low pressure system. But as it sweeps through, we go from 2 degrees in the morning to around 15 degrees by the evening across parts of England, as very mild air does start to move in. So a substantial shift there through the weekend from very cold to very mild as this big storm system moves in. Now, I do just want to briefly compare to the R pairs just to make sure we're not missing anything that the UKV could be ignoring. You can see again heavy showers continue to pile in over the coming hours, continue to accumulate towards those coastal regions. Again, that low potentially through Thursday, skirting parts of the Rubber of Ireland, not really getting too much into southwest England. So I do think a wider risk is very, very low at this stage, but potentially for southern Ireland and southwest England over the higher ground, there is that risk. As we progress into Friday, again, some snow showers around, but it slowly dies out as we see that low arriving from the west. Again, heavy snow on the leading edge before eventually turning all to rain as we do transition into those milder conditions. If you finish the video by now, have a look at the longer range as we do head into early December. You can see the northerly winds at the moment, very cold and blocked for the foreseeable future. You can eventually see, though, low pressure pushing in off the Atlantic. High pressure nudging back in, trying to give us easterly winds, keeping it cold, but nothing too major. And eventually right towards the extended range, that high pressure continues to try and push northwards. Perhaps could be having some success here. We start to see this cold air getting displaced out to the Arctic. Again, signs it could turn colder into early December, but once again, a run that shows promise, but nothing concrete. If you compare it to the latest GM, again, northerly winds at the moment, very cold chart, again, low pressure system, potentially even a storm moving into the weekend, and eventually towards day 10, we still have this westerly flow, but a very southerly tracking jet stream, and again, another block towards Greenland. So very similar to the GFS in terms of showing very, very strong promise, but doesn't actually develop anything too majorly cold. We'd have to see these darker blues and purples exiting into Scandinavia with a northerly wind piling in, with that high pressure being a bit more dominant if we want to see anything majorly cold. At this stage, though, hints, but nothing concrete. Probably, though, the earliest we'll next see any potential wintry weather is the first few days of December. It does look like, at the moment at least, the latter part of November could be chilly, but unlikely to be wintry or with anything too major. And finally, if we compare to the ECM, though, we have again northerly winds pushing in at the moment, that lower rise through the weekend, and eventually we see high pressure, a cold high pressure building in, but it actually does lose out, interestingly. We actually go into quite a westerly flow here towards the end of the run. So ECM, though, we have actually going against the status quo, and it does push in something much more mild and unsettled and bog standard for the start of meteorological winter. Again, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but just shows you all options are on the table. Definitely, again, would favour those colder, more block charts, but again, not guaranteed. If we finally do compare to the GFS ensemble, we'll see very cold over the next 3 or 4 days. Big spike into the weekend with that milder sector, but then it gets back towards average for the foreseeable future with some colder runs and some milder runs, but definitely looks like there'll be plenty of precipitation into early December. Difficult to say if there are any major trends, maybe a slight milder trend within those ensemble members, but at this stage, again, nothing too concrete. Remember, the cold spell we're seeing at the moment was hinted a good week or two in advance, but really didn't have much ensemble support until maybe a week ago, probably. So again, we'll have to wait and see. Keep following those hints, keep following those suggestions, and we'll see where we land as we head towards Christmas. If you finish by looking at the latest EC and OF ensembles, unfortunately the midday run is only just coming out, so we'll look at the midnight run. Again, broadly very similar, very cold for the foreseeable future, turning much milder into the weekend with lots of rain, and then hovering around average or maybe slightly above average there towards the end of November. So nothing too major on the horizon beyond this week. Still definitely strong hints and definitely cold prospects are there, but again, it's one to watch. It's not getting overwhelmingly confident at this stage, and it is all up in the air. But for the time being, we're going to concentrate on the cold and wintry weather we continue to have over the coming days. Yes, we're unlikely to see big walls of snow like we saw earlier today and last night, but we could still see significant snow in places where we do see those convective showers. So do stay safe. Ice will be a big issue, even for those areas that don't see major precipitation. So yeah, still could be disruption even without heavy snow. So do stay safe, keep an eye on those warnings, and do wrap up warm. And it is going to feel bitterly cold out there for the rest of the week. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.